As spring approaches once again, the wildlife on the lake is now becoming more active, especially the great crested grebes. They now have one thing in mind: to pair up and raise a new generation of youngsters. Great crested grebes, once paired, only stay together for just a single breeding season. They feed mainly on small fish and can dive to depths of 10 metres. Each pair defend their territory by making deep growls and sometimes loud barking sounds. Grebes perform elaborate courting displays, especially their head-shaking routines and the weed dance. Both sexes grow ornate head plumes during the breeding season. These are used to express mood or intention. The male on the right has a slightly larger body and plumes. The weed dance is normally performed before nest building begins. These birds spend nearly all their lives on the water and have great difficulty walking on land. There is a reason for this: their legs being set far back on their bodies. They also have specially adapted feet with flattened claws known as rump foot. This pair have claimed a territory near to the reservoir's overflow. We will monitor their progress over the next few months. They're now beginning to prospect for a suitable nest site. The nest will be floating but attached to the lakeside's vegetation. No one is welcome on our Grebes territory, but mallards are no threat to them really. Another pair of grebes live nearby. Our male grebe makes sure that they know where his boundaries are. It looks like this may be their favoured place for the nest. Both birds will help to build it. That appears to be a plastic bag rather than weed. It's difficult to believe that these beautiful birds were once hunted for their plumes to adorn ladies' hats. They're now protected by law. By the end of March, the overflow pair have finally settled on the location for their nest. It appears to be anchored to a sawn-off branch which could possibly move in strong winds or waves. Most of the nesting material is collected from the lake bed and overhanging bushes. The male bird uses his weight to compress the material to establish a strong base. This is a working reservoir used to fill the canal system. Therefore, the water level may go up or down, which is not ideal for a floating nest. The end of a long, hard day's work. There's always time for some territory marking, though. There's already been a substantial amount of rain, so the water level has risen considerably. More heavy rain is expected soon. Both birds are working hard to keep the nest above the water level. Will they succeed? There is now a strong undertow caused by the water cascading down the overflow, creating another problem for them. All the effort seems to have paid off. The nest still seems to be unstable though. At last the weather is settled for a few days. The willow is nearly in full leaf now, which will help to screen the nest from the public footpath behind. Mating takes place at regular intervals whilst her eggs are developing. Hopefully, it won't be long now until the first egg is laid. She appears to be sitting rather oddly. Has she laid any eggs? Wonderful. Are there 2 eggs at present? A normal clutch is 3, occasionally 4. The incubation starts as soon as the first egg is laid, so the chicks will be of slightly different sizes, depending on the order in which they were laid. Both birds will share the incubation, which will be around 28 days before hatching. They change over about every 20 minutes. There's been a lot more heavy rain, so the reservoir is now full. The nest is now in grave danger of sinking. Will she be able to save the eggs? It may be all right for the time being, but more rain and strong northwesterly winds are forecast. It's getting desperate now, as the wind is increasing and more rain is imminent. The nest is rapidly getting waterlogged. Sadly, due to high winds and heavy rain, the overflow pair's nest and eggs were destroyed. This is the nature reserve located above the reservoir. A long, narrow lake winding through a deep valley. Only 1 pair of grebes breed on this lake. They already have 3 quite large young. The chicks are commonly known as humbugs because of their striped heads. They often ride on their parents' backs. These ones are getting too large for that, but they will still try to climb aboard. There is an abundance of fry here due to the fish recently spawning, ideal to feed the youngsters with. It's time to leave this family for the time being and return to the reservoir. Another pair of grebes have been nesting further along the reservoir. Wow, at last a chick riding on mother's back. Beautiful. They appear to have only 1 youngster. It should have a better chance of surviving. A smaller fish for Junior may help. Mum needs some dinner as well as you, little one. It's not often you see adults feeding on the surface, as they tend to catch and swallow their prey underwater. Back on the nature reserve, what a lovely way to spend an early June sunrise. This is nature at its best, sitting by this beautiful lake, just watching and listening. The chicks are now nearly as big as their parents, but there's a problem. 2 of the chicks appear to have adopted a parent each. The third one seems to be a little lost and unsure of itself, and is constantly being warded off by its siblings. Hopefully, the parents will still look after it. The fishing season on this lake has now opened. It's more difficult to locate the grebes. Only 2 youngsters are about. It appears that the third one hasn't survived. The young are predated by mink, herons and even pike, not forgetting the threat of starvation. These young will become independent by the end of August or early September. This is the last time we manage to film them. Good luck, little ones. Unbelievably, the overflow pair have successfully raised 2 new chicks and returned to their old territory. Excellent news after all the hard work building the nest that they lost. One chick is much larger than the other, which indicates that they may have lost one. The time has arrived for the single youngster to begin fending for itself. The parents are now refusing to feed it. During the winter, it will continue to grow and develop its adult plumage. By spring, it may choose to stay here or find a new home. The parent's job is now complete. As the sun rises on a beautiful autumn morning, our time with the grebes is coming to an end. It's been a privilege that for 9 months we have been able to share the lives of these amazing birds. The adults will soon molt and lose their beautiful breeding plumage, but attain their warm winter coats. Some of the youngsters and adults will fly off to find a new watery home. Great crested grebes have made a remarkable recovery from near extinction. We must continue to ensure that they dance on our still waters for many years to come.